Good morning and welcome back to Reading Wikis for You, where we read the wiki articles for you. And today we're going to continue our look at the teams of the National Football League by taking a look at the Cleveland Browns. So, as always, while I'm reading, do me a favor, drop a comment down below with a topic you'd like to hear more about. Doesn't have to be a specific article, just something you want to learn more about, and I'll find something to put into the schedule. So, without further ado, let's get started. The Cleveland Browns are a professional American football team based in Cleveland. The Browns compete in the National Football League as a member of the American Football Conference North Division. The team is named after original coach and co-founder Paul Brown. They play their home games at Huntington Bank Field, which opened in 1999, with administrative offices and training facilities in Berea, Ohio. The franchise's official club colors are brown, orange, and white. They are unique among the 32-member clubs of the NFL in that they do not have a logo on their helmets. The franchise was founded in 1944 by Brown and businessman Arthur B. McBride as a charter member of the All-American Football Conference and began play in 1946. The Browns dominated the AAFC, compiling a 47-4-3 record in the league's 4 seasons and winning its championship in each. When the AAFC folded after the 1949 season, the Browns joined the NFL along with the San Francisco 49ers and the original Baltimore Colts. The Browns won a championship in their inaugural NFL season, as well as in the 1954, 55, and 64 seasons, and in a feat unequaled in any of the North American major professional sports, played in their league championship game in each of their first 10 years of existence, winning 7 of those games. From 1965 to 1995, they qualified to play in the NFL playoffs 14 times, but did not win another championship or play in the Super Bowl during that period. In 1995, owner Art Modell, who had purchased the Browns in 1961, announced plans to move the team to Baltimore. After threats of legal action from the city of Cleveland and fans, a compromise was reached in early 1996 that allowed Modell to establish the Baltimore Ravens as a new franchise while retaining the contracts of all Browns personnel. The Browns' intellectual property, including team name, logos, training facility, and history, were kept in trust, and the franchise was regarded by the NFL as suspended, guaranteed to return no later than the 1999 season, either by moving an existing franchise or an expansion draft. While several franchises considered moving to Cleveland, in 1998 it was confirmed that the NFL would hold an expansion draft and field 31 teams when the Browns resumed play in 1999. Although the 1999 Browns were restocked via an expansion draft, the Browns are not considered to be an expansion franchise. Since resuming operations in 1999, the Browns have struggled to find success, especially during the 2010s when they failed to post a winning season throughout the decade. They have had only 4 winning seasons, 3 playoff appearances, and 1 playoff win, winning less than 1/3 of their games in total, and in 2017 were only the second team in NFL history to have a 0-16 season after the 2008 Detroit Lions. The franchise has also been noted for a lack of stability with head coaches. 10 full-time, including 2 who were fired after only 1 season and 2 interims since 1999. And quarterbacks, 42 different starters since 1999. From 2003 to 2019, the Browns had a 17-season playoff drought, which ended during the 2020 season. They are one of 4 teams to have never appeared in a Super Bowl. Their lack of recent success has been such that their decades-long rivalry with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a rivalry that at one point the Browns had a 22-game lead in the all-time series, saw the Steelers overtake the Browns in the rivalry in 2007 and currently hold a 17-game edge over the Browns. History. The Cleveland Browns were founded in 1944 when taxicab magnate Arthur B. "Mickey" McBride secured a Cleveland franchise in the newly formed All-America Football Conference. Paul Brown was the team's namesake and first coach. The Browns began play in 1946 in the AAFC. The Browns won each of the league's 4 championship games before the league dissolved in 1949. The team then moved to the more established National Football League, where it continued to dominate. Between 1950 and 1955, Cleveland reached the NFL championship game every year, winning 3 times. McBride and his partners sold the team to a group of Cleveland businessmen in 1953 for a then unheard of $600,000. 8 years later, the team was sold again, this time to a group led by New York advertising executive Art Modell. Modell fired Brown before the 1963 season, but the team continued to win behind fullback Jim Brown. The Browns won the championship in the 1964 and reached the title game the following season, losing to the Green Bay Packers. When the AFL and NFL merged before the 1970 season, Cleveland became part of the new American Football Conference. While the Browns made it back to the playoffs in 1971 and 72, they fell into mediocrity through the mid-1970s. A revival of sorts took place in 1979 and 1980 when quarterback Brian Sipe engineered a series of last-minute wins and the Browns came to be called the Cardiac Kids. Under Sipe, however, the Browns did not make it past the first round of the playoffs. Quarterback Bernie Kosar, whom the Browns drafted in 1985, led the team to 3 AFC championship games in the late 1980s, but lost each time to the Denver Broncos. In 1995, Modell announced he was moving the Browns to Baltimore, drawing a mix of outrage and bitterness from Cleveland's dedicated fan base. Negotiations and legal battles led to an agreement where Modell would be allowed to take his personnel to Baltimore as an expansion franchise called the Baltimore Ravens, but would leave the Cleveland Browns' colors, logos, and heritage for a reactivated Browns franchise that would take the field no later than 1999. Before the 1991 season, the Browns hired Bill Belichick to be the head coach. He led the team one winning season in his 5 years with the team, which occurred in 1994. The 1994 team defeated the New England Patriots 20-13 in the wild card round before falling to the Pittsburgh Steelers 29-9 in the divisional round. After a 5-11 season in 1995, the Browns fired Belichick. After 3 years of inactivity while the Cleveland Stadium was demolished and Huntington Bank Field, then known as the Cleveland Browns Stadium, was built on its site, the Browns were reactivated and started play again in 1999 under a new owner, Al Lerner. Under head coach Chris Palmer, the Browns went 2-14 in 1999 and 3-13 in 2000. The Browns struggled throughout the 2000s and 2010s, posting a record of 101 to 234 to 1 since their 1999 return. The Browns have only posted 4 winning seasons and 3 playoff appearances since returning to the NFL. The team's struggles have been magnified since 2012 when the Lerner family sold the team to businessman Jimmy Haslam. In 6 seasons under Haslam's ownership, the Browns went through 4 head coaches and 4 general managers, none of whom had found success. Butch Davis was named head coach before the 2001 season. In his first season, he led the team to a 7-9 record in 2001. He led the team to a playoff berth with a 9-7 record in 2002. The Browns lost 36-33 to the Steelers in the wild card round. The team regressed to a 5-11 record in the 2003 season. After a 3-8 start to the 2004 season, Davis resigned. Terry Robisky finished out the season with a 1-4 mark. Before the 2005 season, the team hired Romeo Crennel to be their next head coach. He went 6-10 in 2005 and 4-12 in 2006. He posted a winning 10-6 record that did not qualify for the playoffs in the 2007 season. He went 4-12 in the 2008 season and was fired after the season. Eric Mangini posted consecutive 5-11 seasons as head coach in 2009 and 2010 before getting fired. Pat Shurmur coached the team to a 4-12 record in 2011 and a 5-11 record in 2012 before getting fired. Rob Chudzinski coached the Browns in the 2013 season. He was fired after a 4-12 campaign. Mike Pettine coached the team in 2014 and 15, going 7-9 and 3-13 before getting fired. In 2016 and 2017 under head coach Hugh Jackson, the Browns went 1-31, the worst 2-year stretch in NFL history, and received the number 1 overall draft pick in both of those years. Those top overall draft picks were used on Myles Garrett and Baker Mayfield. Before the 2019 season, Freddie Kitchens was hired as head coach. Kitchens led the team to a 6-10 record and was fired after the season. Before the 2020 season, the Browns hired Kevin Stefanski as their head coach. In 2020, the Browns secured their first playoff berth since 2002 by defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 17 and finishing the season 11-5. In the wild card round, they defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 48-37 for their first playoff win since 1994. The Browns saw their season end in a 22-17 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. The 2021 season saw the Browns go 8-9 and miss the postseason. In the following season, the Browns went 7-10 and missed the postseason for the 2022 season. In the 2023 season, the Browns returned to the postseason with an 11-6 mark. The Browns ended their season with a 45-14 loss to the Texans in the wild card round. Logos and uniforms. Logos. The Browns are the only National Football League team without a helmet logo. As such, the logoless helmet serves as the Browns' official logo. The organization has used several promotional logos throughout the years. Players' numbers were painted on the helmets from 1957 to 1960, and an unused CB logo was created in 1965. But for much of their history, the Browns' helmets have been an unadorned burnt orange color with a top stripe of dark brown, officially called seal brown, divided by a white stripe. The team has had various promotional logos throughout the years, such as the Brownie Elf mascot or Brown Bee on a white football. While Art Modell did away with the elf in the mid-1960s, believing it to be too childish, its use has been revived since the team's return in 1999. The popularity of the dog pound section at Huntington Bank Field has led to a brown and orange dog being used for various Browns functions. But overall, the orange logoless helmet continues as the primary trademark of the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have used special commemorative logos during individual seasons, such as the 1999 logo to celebrate the team's return to the NFL, a 60th anniversary logo for the 2006 season, and a 75th anniversary logo in 2021. The current logos and word marks were introduced in February 24, 2015, with the helmet design remaining largely as is, the only differences being minor color changes to the shade of orange used on the helmet and the face mask being changed from gray to brown. A new secondary dog logo was introduced in 2023. The logo, featuring a bull mastiff dog, was created by graphic designer Houston Mark and was the winning entry of a fan vote. It features numerous small homages to the city of Cleveland, the state of Ohio, and the team's history. By virtue of a fan poll, a version of the Brownie Elf logo was featured at midfield at Huntington Bank Field from 2022 to 2024. The team reverted to the helmet logo for 2025, though the Brownie Elf is still featured on banners around the perimeter of the field. Uniforms. The design of the jerseys, pants, and socks remained mostly the same, but the helmets have seen revisions over the years. The Browns' uniforms saw their first big change before the 2015 season. Jerseys. Brown with the officially seal brown with orange-colored numbers and writing and an orange-white-orange stripe sequence on the sleeves. White for away, with white with orange numbers and writing with a brown-orange-brown stripe sequence. Orange with white numerals and writing and a brown-white-brown stripe sequence. Pants. Brown pants with an orange-white-orange stripe sequence down 2/3 of the length of the pants. The other third is the word Browns written in orange. White pants with a brown-orange-brown stripes. Browns is written in brown. Orange pants with a brown-white-brown stripe sequence. Browns is written in brown. Socks, solid brown, solid white, or solid orange. Helmet, solid white from 1946 to 49. Solid white for day games and solid orange for night games. 1950 to 1951. Orange with single white stripe, 1952 to 1956. Orange with a single white stripe and brown numerals on the sides, 1957 to 1959. Orange with brown, white, brown stripe sequence and brown numerals on the sides, 1960. Orange with a brown, white, brown stripe sequence, 1961 to 1995 and 1999 to present. Over the years, the Browns have had on and off periods of wearing white for their home games, particularly in the 1970s and 80s, as well as in the early 2000s after the team returned to the league. Until recently, when more NFL teams have started to wear white at home at least once a season, the Browns were the only non-subtropical team north of the Mason-Dixon line to wear white at home on a regular basis. Secondary numerals, called TV numbers, first appeared on the jersey sleeves in 1961. Over the years, there have been minor revisions to the sleeve stripes, the first occurring in 1968 and 1969, when stripes began to be silk-screened onto the sleeves and separated from each other to prevent color bleeding. However, the basic five-stripe sequence has remained intact, with the exception of the 1984 season. A recent revision was the addition of the initials AL to honor team owner Al Lerner, who died in 2002. This was removed in 2013 upon Jimmy Haslam assuming ownership of the team. Orange pants with a brown-white-brown stripe sequence were worn from 1975 to 1983 and became symbolic of the Cardiac Kids era. The orange pants were worn again occasionally in 2003 and 2004. Other than the helmet, the uniform was completely redesigned for the 1984 season. New striping patterns appeared on the white jerseys, brown jerseys, and pants. Solid brown socks were worn with brown jerseys, and solid orange socks were worn with white jerseys. Brown numerals on the white jerseys were outlined in orange. White numerals on the brown jerseys were double outlined in brown and orange. Orange numerals double outlined in brown and white appeared briefly on the brown jerseys in one preseason game. However, this particular uniform set was not popular with the fans, and in 1985 the uniform was returned to a look similar to the original design. It remained that way until 1995. In 1999, the expansion Browns adopted the traditional design with two exceptions. First, the TV numbers previously on the sleeves were moved to the shoulders, and second, the orange-brown-orange pant stripes were significantly widened. Experimentation with uniform design began in 2002. An alternate orange jersey was introduced that season as the NFL encouraged teams to adopt a third jersey, and a major design change was made when solid brown socks appeared for the first time since 1984 and were used with white, brown, and orange jerseys. Other than 1984, striped socks had been a signature design element in the team's traditional uniform. The white striped socks appeared occasionally with the white jerseys in 2003 to 2005 and 2007. Experimentation continued in 2003 and 2004 when the traditional orange-brown-orange stripes on the white pants were replaced by two variations of a brown-orange-brown sequence, one in which the stripes were joined and the other in which they were separated by white. The joined sequence was used exclusively with both jerseys in 2005. In 2006, the traditional orange-brown-orange sequence returned. Additionally, in 2006, the team reverted to an older uniform style featuring gray face masks, the original stripe pattern on the brown jersey sleeves, and the older, darker shade of brown. The Browns wore brown pants for the first time in team history on August 18, 2008, preseason game against the New York Giants. The pants contained no stripes or markings. The team had the brown pants created as an option for their away uniform when they integrated the gray face mask in 2006. They were not worn again until the Browns family scrimmage on August 9, 2009 with white striped socks. The Browns have continued to wear the brown pants throughout the 2009 season. Browns quarterback Brady Quinn supported the team's move to wearing the brown pants full-time, claiming the striped pattern on the white pants prohibited mobility. However, the fans generally did not like the brown pants, and after being used for only one season, the team returned to their white shirt-on-white pants in 2010. Coach Eric Mangini told the Plain Dealer the Browns won't use the brown pants anymore. It wasn't very well received, Mangini said. I hope we can get to the point where we can wear fruit on our heads and people wouldn't notice. At the time, the brown pants weren't officially dropped by the team, but simply not used. The Browns chose to wear white at home for the 2011 season and wound up wearing white for all 16 games, as when they were on the road, the home team would wear their darker colored uniform. The Browns brought back the brown pants in their home game against the Buffalo Bills on October 3, 2013, on Thursday Night Football, pairing them with the brown jerseys. It marked the first time the team wore an all-brown combination in team history. On April 14, 2015, the Cleveland Browns unveiled their new uniform combinations consisting of the team's colors of orange, brown, and white, but with a slight altering of the orange color to a slightly darker but more vibrant matte orange, and seal brown and white with orange numerals which featured a drop shaw. Above the jersey numerals, the word Cleveland appeared emblazoned in brown in a custom sans serif font type. The Browns brought back the all-brown look for the NFL Color Rush program in 2016, minus the white elements. In 2018, despite the Color Rush program being discontinued, the uniform was worn at home 3 times. For the 2019 season, the Browns promoted this uniform to their primary home uniform and donned it for 6 home games, as well as any away game in which the home team wore white. The club unveiled a new uniform design for the 2020 season. The new uniform design pays homage to the Browns' classic uniform design from years past. In 2023, the Browns introduced new whiteout uniforms, an all-white uniform featuring a white helmet that will be worn during select home games. This will mark the first time since 1950 the Browns will have non-orange helmets. The white helmets, which will feature an orange stripe down the middle flanked by 2 brown stripes, basically inverting the regular helmet's colors, are an homage to the early years of the franchise. The white uniforms themselves were a throwback to the 1946 season and were first worn in 2021 in celebration of the Browns' 75th anniversary season. Before the 2025 season, the Browns unveiled a second alternate helmet featuring a matte brown finish with a brown stripe flanked by 2 orange stripes. This helmet would be worn with the all-brown Color Rush uniform, which was last worn in 2022 and lacked the striping of regular uniforms. Rivalries. The Browns have rivalries with all 3 of their AFC North opponents. In addition, the team has had historical rivalries with the Denver Broncos, Detroit Lions, San Francisco 49ers, and Houston Oilers and Tennessee Titans. Divisional rivalries. Pittsburgh Steelers. Often called the Turnpike rivalry, the Browns' biggest rival has long been the Pittsburgh Steelers. Former Browns owner Art Modell scheduled home games against the Steelers on Saturday nights from 1964 to 1970 to help fuel the rivalry. The rivalry has also been fueled by the proximity of the 2 teams, number of championships both teams have won, players and personnel having played and or coached for both sides, and personal bitterness. The teams have played twice annually since 1950, making it the oldest rivalry in the AFC and the 5th oldest rivalry in the NFL. Though the Browns dominated this rivalry early in the series, winning the first 8 meetings and posting a 31-9 record in the 1950s and 60s, The Steelers went 15-5 in the 1970s and 36-9-1 since the Browns returned to the league in 1999. The Steelers have been particularly dominant in Pittsburgh, posting a 44-7 record when hosting the Browns since 1970, including 2 winning streaks of 16 games and 17 games. The Steelers currently hold a 79-61-1 lead. The Browns and Steelers met in the playoffs in 1994, 2002, and 2020, with the Steelers holding a 2-1 lead in the postseason series. Though the rivalry has cooled in Pittsburgh due to the Modell move as well as the Browns' poor play since 1999, the Steelers still remain the top rival for Cleveland. Cincinnati Bengals. Originally conceived due to the personal animosity between Paul Brown and Art Modell, the Battle of Ohio between the Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals has been fueled by the socio-cultural differences between Cincinnati and Cleveland. A shared history between the two teams in similar colors, as Brown used the exact shade of orange for the Bengals that he used for the Browns, though this has changed since then, as the Bengals now use a brighter shade of orange. Modell, in fact, moved the Browns to the AFC after the AFL-NFL merger in order to have a rivalry with the Bengals. The rivalry has also produced 2 of the 11 highest-scoring games in NFL history. Cincinnati has the all-time edge, 52-48, while the Bengals have a 28-21 edge since the Browns returned to the NFL in 1999. This series has been more competitive than the Browns series with their other division rivals, and the Browns have won 9 of the last 11 meetings. Baltimore Ravens. Created as a result of the Browns' relocation controversy, the rivalry between the Browns and Baltimore Ravens was more directed at Art Modell than the team itself, and is simply considered a divisional game in Baltimore. This matchup is more bitter for Cleveland than the others due to the fact that the draft picks for 1995 to 1998 resulted in the rosters that won the Super Bowl for the Ravens in 2000. Had Modell not moved the team, these teams, drafted by general manager and former Browns tight end Ozzie Newsome, might have given the Browns a title after a 35-year drought. As of the 2023 season, the Ravens led the overall series 36-14. The two teams have not met in the playoffs. Other rivalries. Detroit Lions. The Browns' rivalry with the Detroit Lions began in the 1950s when the Browns and Lions played each other in 4 NFL championship games. The Lions won 3 of these championships, while the Browns won none. This was arguably one of the NFL's best rivalries in the 1950s. Since the NFL-AFL merger of 1970, the teams have met much less frequently, with the Browns' move to the AFC. From 2002 to 2014, the two teams have played an annual preseason game known as the Great Lakes Classic. As of the 2023 season, the Lions lead the all-time series 19-6. Denver Broncos. The Browns had a brief rivalry with the Denver Broncos that arose from 3 AFC Championship games from 1986 to 1989. In the 1986 AFC Championship, quarterback John Elway led the drive to secure a tie in the waning moments at Cleveland Municipal Stadium. The Broncos went on to win in 23-20 in overtime. 1 year later, the two teams met again in the 1987 AFC Championship game at Mile High Stadium. Denver took a 21-3 lead, but Browns quarterback Bernie Kosar threw 4 touchdown passes to tie the game at 31-31 halfway through the fourth quarter. After a long drive, John Elway threw a 20-yard touchdown pass to running back Sammy Winder to give the Denver a 38-31 lead. Cleveland advanced to Denver's 8-yard line with 1 minute 12 seconds left, but the Broncos' safety Jeremiah Castile stripped Browns running back Ernest Biner of the football at the 2-yard line, a play that has been called the fumble by Browns fans. The Broncos recovered it, gave Cleveland an intentional safety, and went on to win 38-33. The teams met yet again in the 1989 AFC Championship at Mile High Stadium, which the Broncos easily won by a score of 37-21. This short-lived rivalry also featured a controversial 16-13 Browns win at Cleveland Municipal Stadium in the 1989 regular season. The game was decided by a Matt Barr 48-yard field goal as time expired, a kick that barely cleared the crossbar. Barr's field goal came after referee Tom Dooley ordered the teams to switch ends of the field midway through the fourth quarter, thanks to rowdy Dog Pound fans who pelted the Broncos with dog biscuits, eggs, and other debris. The switch gave the Browns a small, timely wind advantage to finish the game. More recently, the rivalry has cooled off as the Broncos won 11 straight meetings from 1991 to 2015, before Cleveland broke that streak with a narrow 17-16 win in 2018. As of the 2023 season, Denver leads the overall series 25-7. San Francisco 49ers. The most competitive team in the AAFC era for the Browns was the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco finished second to the Browns in each of the 4 seasons that the league played. Two of the Browns' four losses in that era were to the 49ers, including a loss that ended the Browns' 29-game unbeaten streak. The rivalry did not last into the NFL years, particularly after the teams were placed in opposite conferences in 1970. The rivalry has turned into a friendly relationship as many 49ers personnel helped the Browns relaunch in 1999, specifically former 49ers president and CEO Carmen Policy and Vice President Director of Football Operations Dwight Clark, who were hired by the expansion Browns in the same roles. In addition, 49ers owner John York and Denise DeBartolo York reside in Youngstown, 60 miles southeast of Cleveland. Longtime Browns place kicker and fan favorite Phil Dawson and backup quarterback Colt McCoy signed with the 49ers in 2014. As of the 2023 season, the Browns lead the all-time series 20-10. Houston Oilers/Tennessee Titans. The Browns' rivalry with the Houston Oilers and Tennessee Titans dates back to the Browns and then Oilers being placed in the AFC Central after the AFL-NFL merger of 1970. As such, the teams played each other twice annually from 1970 until 2002, when divisional realignment placed the Browns in the AFC North and the now Titans in the AFC South. The teams have met much less frequently since 2002. The Browns lead the overall series 37-32, and the 69 meetings with the Oilers-Titans are the third most of any Cleveland opponent, trailing only the Steelers and Bengals. The height of this rivalry was during the 1980s. Oilers head coach Jerry Glanville and Marty Schottenheimer shared several bitter exchanges during the decade, and the Browns and Oilers had their only playoff meeting in the 1988 Wild Card round, in which the Oilers came away with a narrow 24-23 victory. There have been a few memorable games in recent years. In 2014, the Browns erased a 28-3 deficit to come away with a 29-28 win. In a December 2020 contest with playoff implications for both teams, the Browns jumped to a 38-7 halftime lead, setting a franchise record for points in the first half. However, Tennessee rallied in the second half but came up just short as the Browns hung on for a 41-35 win. Fan base. A 2006 study conducted by BizJournal determined that Browns fans are the most loyal fans in the NFL. The study, while not scientific, was largely based on fan loyalty during winning and losing seasons, attendance at games, and challenges confronting fans, such as inclement weather or long-term poor performance of their team. The study noted that Browns fans filled 99.8% of the seats at Huntington Bank Field during the last 7 seasons, despite a combined record of 36-76 over that span. Dog Pound. Perhaps the most visible Browns fans are those that can be found in the Dog Pound, originally the name for the bleacher section located in the open east end of the old Cleveland Municipal Stadium. The current incarnation is likewise located in the east end of Huntington Bank Field, and still features hundreds of orange and brown clad fans sporting various canine-related paraphernalia. The fans adopted that name in 1984 after members of the Browns' defense used it to describe the team's defense. Retired cornerback Hanford Dixon, who played his entire career for the Browns from 1981 to 1989, is credited with naming the Cleveland Browns defense the Dogs in the mid-1980s. Dixon and teammates Frank Minifield and Eddie Johnson would bark at each other and to the fans in the bleachers at the Cleveland Stadium to fire them up. It was from Dixon's naming that the Dog Pound subsequently took its title. The fans adopted the name in the years after. Due to this nickname, since the team's revival, the Browns have used a bulldog as an alternate logo. Browns backers. The most prominent organization of Browns fans is the Browns Backers Worldwide, or BBW. The organization has approximately 305,000 members, and Browns backers clubs can be found in every major city in the United States and in a number of military bases throughout the world, with the largest club being in Phoenix, Arizona. In addition, the organization has a sizable foreign presence in places as far away as Egypt, Australia, Japan, Sri Lanka, McMurdo Station in Antarctica. According to the official fan club of the Cleveland Browns, the two largest international fan clubs are in Alon Shvut, West Bank, and Niagara, Canada, with Alon Shvut having 129 members and Niagara having 310. After former Browns owner Randy Lerner's acquisition of English soccer club Aston Villa, official Villa outlets started selling Cleveland Browns goods such as jerseys and NFL footballs. This has raised interest in England and strengthened the link between the two sporting clubs. Aston Villa supporters have set up an organization known as the Aston Browns Backers of Birmingham. All right, we then have players of note. Current roster, as always, we do not read off the entire list. That will be in the article, which you can find linked down in the description. Players enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The Cleveland Browns have the fourth largest number of players enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, with a total of 17 enshrined players elected based on their performance with the Browns, and 9 more players or coaches who spent at least 1 year with the Browns franchise. No Browns players were inducted in the inaugural induction class of 1963. Otto Graham was the first Browns player to be enshrined as a member of the class of 1965. And the most recent Browns player to be included in the Pro Football Hall of Fame is Joe Thomas, who was a member of the class of 2023, who was the first member inducted that played in the 21st century. All right, we've got number 60 and 14, Otto Graham, who played as quarterback. Paul Brown, former head coach. Number 76 and 36, Marion Motley, played as a fullback. Number 32, Jim Brown, also a fullback. Number 46 and 76, Lou Groza, offensive tackle and kicker. 58 and 86, Dante Lavelli, wide receiver. Number 53 and 80, Len Ford, defensive end. Number 30, 45 and 60, Bill Willis, tackle and offensive guard. Number 77, Willie Davis, defensive end. Number 83, Doug Atkins, defensive end. Number 49, Bobby Mitchell, wide receiver, running back, and halfback. Number 42, Paul Warfield, wide receiver. Number 74, Mike McCormack, offensive tackle. Number 22 and 52, Frank Gatsky, center. Number 18, Len Dawson, quarterback. Number 44, Leroy Kelly, running back. Number 72, Henry Jordan, defensive tackle. Number 29, Tommy McDonald, wide receiver. Number 82, Ozzie Newsome, tight end. Number 64, Joe Delamelure. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Offensive guard. Number 66, Gene Hickerson, offensive guard. Number 58 and 88, Max Speedy, end. Number 73, Joe Thomas, offensive tackle. Cleveland Browns Legends. The Cleveland Browns Legends program honors former Browns who made noteworthy contributions to the history of the franchise. In addition to all of the Hall of Famers listed above, the Legends list includes this. I'm just going to read off the names. Name and position. Bernie Kosar, quarterback. Michael Dean Perry, defensive end. Greg Pruitt, running back. Ray Renfro, wide receiver. Clay Matthews, linebacker. Brian Sipe, quarterback. Hanford Dixon, cornerback. Bob Gain, defensive tackle. Dick Shafreth, offensive tackle. Gary Collins, wide receiver. Tommy James, punter. Dub Jones, wide receiver. Mike Pruitt, running back. Frank Minifield, cornerback. Frank Ryan, quarterback. Jerry Shirk, defensive tackle. Jim Ray Smith, offensive tackle. Ernest Biner, running back. Doug Deacon, offensive tackle. Jim Houston, linebacker. Walt Michaels, linebacker. Don Cockcroft, kicker. Horace Gillum, punter. Bill Glass, defensive end. Kevin Mack, running back. Walter Johnson, defensive tackle. Warren Lahr, defensive back. Eric Metcalf, running back. Kick return specialist. Paul Wiggin, defensive end. Cody Reason, offensive tackle. John Wooten, offensive guard. Vince Costello, linebacker. Tom DeLeon, center. Clarence Scott, safety. Ernie Green, running back. Galen Fiss, linebacker. Abe Gibran, guard. Robert Jackson, guard. Milt Morin, tight end. Don Colo, defensive tackle. Bob Golick, nose tackle. Dick Ambrose, linebacker. Tom Darden, free safety. Bernie Parrish, defensive back. Tony Adamel, linebacker, fullback. Eric Barnes, defensive back. Eddie Johnson, linebacker. Josh Cribbs, wide receiver, kick receiver. Webster Slaughter, wide receiver. DeQuell Jackson, linebacker. Bill Nelson, quarterback. Pete Brewster, tight end. Joe Thomas, offensive tackle. All right. There's a separate article for a list of Cleveland Browns who have gone to the Pro Bowl. Retired uniform numbers. Number 14, Otto Graham, quarterback from 1946 to 1955. Jim Brown, number 32, fullback, 1957 to 1965. Ernie Davis, halfback, 1962, number 45. Fleming, number 46. Don Fleming, safety, 1960 to 1962. Lou Groza, number 76, offensive tackle and kicker, 1946 to 1959 and 1961 to 1967. Ring of Honor. Beginning in 2010, the Browns established a Ring of Honor honoring the greats from the past by having their names displayed around the upper deck of Huntington Bank Field. The inaugural class in the Browns Ring of Honor was unveiled during the home opener in September 19, 2010, and featured the 16 Hall of Famers listed above who went into the Hall of Fame as Browns. In 2018, Joe Thomas, who was entered into the Ring of Honor with number 10,363, commemorating his NFL record of consecutive snaps played on offense. In 2019, four-time Pro Bowl linebacker Clay Mathers Jr. was entered into the Ring of Honor. All right, we're going to skip that list. All right, statues. Numerous Browns players and staff have had statues made in their honor. In and around Huntington Bank Field, 1964 NFL champion and Hall of Fame running back Jim Brown, erected in 2016. Three-time NFL champion and Hall of Fame quarterback Otto Graham, erected in 2019. In and around Cleveland, late owner Alfred Lerner in front of the team's headquarters practice facility in Berea, Ohio since 2003. And Browns Hall of Fame offensive tackle kicker Lou Groza in front of a youth football field that bears his name, also in Berea since 2016. Murals. Browns players featured on murals in downtown Cleveland include Jim Brown, along with other Cleveland dignitaries, as under the banner, "Cleveland is the Reason." Myles Garrett, depicted as a child with his grandmother in Playhouse Square. Streets. The street near Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland was renamed Alfred Lerner Way in 2002 after the late owner. The street in Berea, Ohio, where the Browns' headquarters and practice facility are located, is named Lou Groza Boulevard. There's a separate article for a list of starting quarterbacks. Separate article for first-round draft picks. As of the 2023 season, the Browns have had the first overall pick in the NFL draft on 5 occasions: 1954, 1999, 2000, 2017, and 2018. Head coaches, coaches of note, head coaches. There's a separate article to list all of them. The Browns have had 22 head coaches serve in the capacity. Here's the list of the current staff. Again, check out the article itself for that. Media, radio and television. I know I was doing those in some of the earlier videos, but I'm not reading those anymore. It's a list of TV stations. But we will look at this. Honors. The Browns' in-house production team won a pair of Lower Great Lakes Emmy Awards in 2005. One was for a primetime special honoring the 1964 NFL Championship team, the 1964 Championship Show, and one was for a commercial spot, The Paperboy. References in popular culture. The Browns have, either directly or indirectly, been featured in various movies and TV shows over the years. Notable examples include Cleveland native Arsenio Hall's television program, The Arsenio Hall Show, is known for the audiences shouting "woof, woof, woof" while pumping their fists, a chant that was used by the fans of the Browns. He would refer to a section of the live audience as his dog pound. On Living Single, Overton Wakefield Jones, played by John Henton, is a diehard Cleveland Browns fan. On the episode Living Single Undercover, Season 4, Episode 20, Overton is sore over the Browns moving to Baltimore, becoming the Ravens. Henton was born and raised in Cleveland, like his character in the show. Jim Brown guest starred in that episode. On the Drew Carey show, Browns quarterback Bernie Kosar appears uncredited in the episode Drew Stock. In the episode Drew Goes to the Browns Game, Drew attends the Browns' first regular season game since rejoining the NFL. In real life, Drew Carey actually did appear on field at the first regular season game when the team returned in 1999. Cleveland Brown is the name of a character originally featured on the Fox TV show Family Guy and the central character of the spin-off series The Cleveland Show. On the TV show How I Met Your Mother, in the 7th season premiere, the main characters go to a Cleveland Browns-themed wedding. The Browns have been featured on some level in episodes of Hot in Cleveland and even in the promotional videos using at least one of the main characters. In the episode How Did You Guys Meet Anyway?, the characters reminisce about how they met in the 1980s while waiting in the restroom line at a Cleveland Browns game. In the episode God and Football, Melanie, played by Valerie Bertinelli, develops a relationship with the Browns' place kicker, played by Dan Cortese. In the episode The Gateway Friend, Browns wide receiver return specialist Josh Cribbs appears as himself playing a karaoke contestant. After Super Bowl 46, Betty White appears in a video as Elka wearing a Browns jacket, congratulating the New York Giants and hoping that the Browns win it in one season. After the first round of the 2014 NFL Draft, the 4 main characters appear in a video welcoming Justin Gilbert and Johnny Manziel to the Browns. The 1966 film The Fortune Cookie with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau features the Browns and the city of Cleveland throughout the movie and was made with the cooperation of the Browns. The 2008 film, The Express, The Ernie Davis Story, explains how Ernie Davis is traded to the Browns by the Washington Redskins. Early in the film, Jim Brown is taking photos in his Browns uniform after being drafted by them. Later in the film, it shows Davis struggling with leukemia after being drafted, and the Browns hold a special pregame ceremony for him. In the 2010 film Hot Tub Time Machine, the Browns defeat the Broncos and win the 1986 AFC Championship game. The game famous for former Denver Broncos quarterback John Elway's 98-yard drive. It is explained that the reason why the Browns win this game is due to the butterfly effect. In the 2014 film Draft Day, fictional Browns general manager Sonny Weaver Jr., played by Kevin Costner, attempts to land the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Season by Season Record has a complete separate article for that, so feel free to check that out if you are interested. Link in the description as always. But that is it. That is your Cleveland Browns. I hope you found that interesting. I honestly did not realize that the team had gone away and come back, but that's a me problem. So let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment down below and let me know. Are you a Browns fan? Are you part of the Dog Pound? I am absolutely not. I'm from Arizona. But let me know. It's fun to get people's reactions. But as always, comment down below. Let me know something you'd like to hear about next, and I'll find an article for it. And as always, like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and want to see more. And otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.